We are already on day 3 of the perimenopause reset. So I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. It's been really great to see and hear from all of you guys of what you've implemented already and how things are progressing. Also where some gaps might be and what you can already change in your weekly routines. Today's session is going to be on our sleep and recovery. So getting some rest and allowing our bodies to recover. So when we say recovery, people think, oh, you've climbed Mount Everest or you've ran a marathon and you need, a week or 4 weeks or 2 months probably to recover from that. Yes, but also you do need your body time to recover if you've been doing something new, or if you've done a heavier weight session or a longer run or a longer walk and your body needs a bit of time to recover. Yes, also from stress. So if you've had one of those weeks or something, just a busy week or something traumatic or a big emotional sort of event has happened, your body needs time to just settle. You need to let your nervous system just relax and recover. So there's a lot of different strategies in place. Today we're going to focus a bit more on sleep and more the physical recovery strategies that you can do. I find when I talk to mostly my women clients and we start talking about sleep, everybody has either pretty good sleep or pretty good sleep, but usually pretty crap sleep. So nobody seems to have great sleep that they have no complaints about. So if you've got kids, yay, a lot of times that is out of your control. So you don't know when they're gonna wake up or if they're gonna have a bad week or if it's gonna be a 10-minute wake up versus a 2-hour wake up. So a lot of times it's out of your control in that sense. What we wanna do today is just talk about ways that we can set you up, hopefully, for a good night's sleep. So having a good bedtime routine and predicting what might happen overnight and how you can hopefully get back on track during the night to get a better night's sleep. Now, one thing that I hear a lot of from the perimenopause community is night sweats. So at bedtime, things, they go to bed, they go to sleep, and they wake up covered in sweat. They are soaked through their sheets, soaked through their pajamas, and it's ridiculously impossible to get back to sleep. So one strategy that we could do in that scenario is not necessarily prevent the night sweats, although there are some things that have been proven to help with that, but is just prepare for what can happen overnight. So if you know that you're going to wake up covered in sweat and soaking wet, have a change of clothes nearby, put a towel down on your bed. So if you do wake up and you're soaked, what you can try is just quickly changing that towel, change your clothes, and then hopefully it minimizes the amount of time that you're awake and uncomfortable and maybe get back to sleep a bit faster. So the first time I read that tip, I thought, oh, far out, that sucks. And then sure enough, last night I went to bed. I was probably overdressed because I went to bed cold, and I woke up and my whole neck was covered in sweat and my shirt that I was wearing was soaked. And I just thought, okay, well, it's not quite a night sweat because I think I was just overdressed, but I was very switched on, quickly got changed, and then changed my pillow because I sleep with 2 pillows. So I chucked the one that was a bit damp on the floor, tossed my other one on. I got back to sleep. But I thought if that's kind of a glimpse into what a night sweat would feel like, yeah, I do feel quite sympathetic towards those of you that are dealing with it. So being a bit more prepared, wearing clothes that are a bit more appropriate as well. So if you know that you wake up hot, have you got, like sometimes I'll go to bed with socks on and then as my feet warm up, I kick my socks off. I'm always hot. I don't know why I get cold feet, but when I get into bed, I like my feet in warm socks, and usually within an hour, I kick them off. But if you know you're gonna wake up hot and sweaty, what are you wearing to bed? Could you wear something a little bit less? Could you have like a sheet and a different blanket on so that you can quickly just take one off? So just different strategies that you can, hopefully, I know this sounds like a lot of common sense and just really easy strategies, but hopefully something like that can just easily change your sleep. So rather than being up for 2 hours, you might be up for 45 minutes. So I've got my dog in the garage and he wants to get out. But yeah, so that's just one quick strategy. What I just mentioned as well is really important, is predicting what could happen overnight. So if you think you're gonna have to go to the toilet 100 times during the night, let's have a think back to, are you drinking heaps of water right before bedtime? And if you are, why is that? So are you drinking enough water during the day? Probably not. So if you go to bed drinking 2 glasses of water right before bed, you're most likely gonna have to go to the toilet in the middle of the night. Now, 0 to 1 times per night is what we classify as normal and sort of acceptable. Anything more than that, I think there's an issue. We should be able to hold it more, like you shouldn't be having to get up more than once a night to go to the toilet. So if it's just a simple act of cutting out liquids an hour or 2 before bed, that might help. Also caffeine, or if you're having tea. So a lot of people think, oh, I don't drink water, but I have herbal tea. And they might have 4 glasses of tea in the late afternoon and evening. That's gonna have to stop or be cut down drastically, especially if it's waking you up at night to go to the toilet. So Pros and cons, weigh it out. Would you rather have a better night's sleep? Probably. So let's prioritize that and try to cut out your liquids. The other thing too with preparing for what can happen overnight, does your partner snore? I've got the dog as well. Does he snore? Do you have a spare room that you could have ready? So I've had so many nights where like at 2 a.m. I'm ready to murder both of them, and I just get up and I go in the spare room, have a great night's sleep. The next night I don't even chance it, I just sleep in the spare room. So if you have that as an option, there is nothing wrong with that. I've heard that the very, very biggest secret to a happy marriage is actually sleeping separately. So give it a go if you have to. I think that is a great idea. Friends and I always joke about it, but I'm like, if you've got a big day ahead and you need to have a good night's sleep, go in the spare room. Leave the dog and the kids and the snoring partner, leave them to it. So that is definitely an option that you can have available as well. So yeah, the other thing too that can wake you up at night not feel great at bedtime, I guess, is what you've eaten during the day. So as we've already covered, if you've had a good balance of proteins, fibers, fats, and carbs, and good meals all throughout the day, you're most likely not going to overeat at night and not feel the urge to eat before bed again. So if you're eating enough during the day, you can have your dinner, hopefully have 2 hours before your bedtime, and your body has digested everything well and truly. So your body's not fighting your digestive system as it's trying to go to sleep. You want your nervous system to be relaxed before bedtime. So yeah, and that brings us into our bedtime routine as well. So what is your bedtime routine? So I know for me mentally, I love clearing everything up and getting ready for the next day. And then that way when I get into bed, I'm like, oh, okay, everything's done. So I do my kids' lunchbox. I make sure dinner's all packed away. I plan the next day. If I've got an early start with clients, I'll get my clothes ready on my dresser so that in the morning everything is just there. There's less decisions to be made. So I try to do everything. This sounds ridiculous, but I try to do everything before we have dinner. So before we have dinner, lunchbox is clean, ready, lunch is packed for the next day. My clothes are all ready. I plan ahead. Okay, tomorrow, what do we need for breakfast? Everything's in the house. Even thinking ahead of like tomorrow night's dinner, but that helps me get through dinner and bath and bed with my little one a little bit easier. My mind is more clear, and then when I'm getting ready for bed, everything's already done. So I can relax. I'm not running around like a headless chicken. Hello, Tom. I'm not running around like a headless chicken right up until I jump into bed. So then I can either enjoy an hour or two of mindless TV, or I'll sit on the couch with my laptop, pretending to watch TV and just do a few emails or things like that. But the main stuff is done. And that helps put my mind at ease so that when I'm getting ready for bed, it's all done. Or if I have forgotten something, it's one thing. It's not 20 million things that I have to do for the next day. It means that my 4 to 6 p.m. time slot, yeah, I'm a bit cuckoo, but I've got myself enough time to unwind before bed. And that to me is important. To have a little bit of quiet before I go to bed helps me just really get ready for bed, so get ready for sleep. So that definitely helps. Now I do have a few notes here because there was a few things that I wanted to just touch on as well. Now, I am an early bird, so I get up quite early. I love the early morning time to myself, so I will go to bed early because I know I'm waking up early. Also, I've always worked as a PT, so my busiest time of day has been like 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. So I'm used to getting up early anyway. But because of that, I backtrack. So if I know I'm gonna wake up at 4:30 or 5 a.m., I go, okay, I wanna be in bed by 8:30 or 9. But now I even go more than that because I know that I'm not gonna sleep necessarily as soon as I hit the pillow. So I recently listened to a Mel Robbins podcast, and she had some expert on talking about this kind of stuff, and they suggested going into bed 9 hours before you need to wake up. So if you're planning to get up at 7 a.m., try to be in bed at 10 p.m. So be in bed at 10, hopefully you can nod off by 10:30 and aim to get a good 8 hours of sleep. Now, a lot of people always tell me, oh no, I go to bed at 11, I'm up at 6 and I feel pretty good and blah, blah, blah. Try just going to bed a little bit earlier, giving yourself a little bit of extra time. Unwind, lie in bed, listen to a podcast, scroll on your phone a little bit if you have to. I know that's kind of a faux pas. I don't mind it. Anyway, it kind of puts me at ease sometimes as well. But just to lie down with my the lamp on, I find that dim light in my room, lying down, I can just feel my body letting go a little bit. So whatever your bedtime usually is, if you're usually in bed by 10:30, but your mornings start at 5:30 or 6, I would say try to get yourself in bed at least an hour earlier if you can. And if you can't, then think, okay, well, why can't I? What am I doing? Am I wasting time? sitting on the couch watching mindless TV? Is it quality time with my partner? Because that's also important. But are you guys just wasting time? Are you both sitting there on your phones? Are you engaged in conversation? That's great. But if you're just mindlessly sitting there, then you can probably go to bed earlier. So your task for today that I want everyone to do is to have a think of what is your actual bedtime. Do you have a bedtime? What are you normally doing after dinner, before bed? So that time frame in the evening, what are you usually doing? And get yourself in bed at least 30 minutes earlier than usual. So give it a try. I want you in the Facebook group if you can, that would be lovely. Give us an idea of what your bedtime is, what time you wake up. And also, if you can, get yourself into bed 30 minutes earlier today. So I'm going to try to get myself into bed at 8:30 tonight because I've got an early start tomorrow, but also usually Monday nights I tend to get a bit wired because I work until 7, but I'm going to have dinner before my group session that I teach, have everything ready. So when I'm done my group session, I can relax for half an hour. And then I'm going to get myself in bed by 8:30. So we'll see you guys in the Facebook and we'll see how you guys go.